Hi ladies, I'm just setting up my iPad so that I'm ready to go. Hopefully I'll be able to do this without too much trouble. The holder for it is kind of tight. All right. I got it. I got it. Oh, now if I can just keep it all straight for the evening. I hope everybody's having a great evening. Hi, Tony. Glad you made it in. I think I got it straight this time. I'm gonna have to take that out and flip it, the camera, but I think I got it straight. I hope all you, if you have your coupons or I guess your coupons, you've used them because it's almost the end of the month. I have to use mine. I don't want to forget it. I have an order sitting over here I've been working on, but I'll get it there. And I'm really excited to show you what I have learned about this background stamp tonight. I have some hints and some tips for you, and I just realized I need a scrub paper. Let me see, do I have one here? I sure do. Good thing. I just remembered that halfway through that I'm gonna need one. Well, is it getting cold where you are? It was supposed to rain today and it didn't. They're saying 60s this weekend, but last time they said 60s, it was 70s. So, but that's okay. It'll be fine. I don't mind it being a little more like spring, I guess you should say. It was 90 today though, and it was hot, and it's like, no. I'm ready for some cooler temperatures. Let's get down in the high 70s, low 80s. They're still cleaning up down here. Oh my gosh, it looks like war zones down some streets. There's so much trees and things piled up on the side, and they have people they're trying to find housing for. I know that the office is going to be closed tomorrow, but it's going to be open on Saturday for people who are looking for someplace. We have a lot of people who are totally displaced. They cannot go back to their place. It was either condemned or so much damage. It isn't funny, but hopefully it will not rain so we don't get it. Hi, Pam. Glad you made it in. I really don't want any more rain. We've had a lot, and we don't need any more. So I tapped my iPad so that I could bring up the whole screen so I could see comments after I flip it down. I have had so much fun with this background stamp. I love it. I haven't played with it much by itself. I have used it with markers to add an extra plaid line, and I love that. And it doesn't take that long. I'm going to show you tonight. It goes fairly quickly. I've got some hints and some tips. I'm looking for my, there it is. I was going to say, I was looking for my ruler and my marker, and I was like, where did I put it? Hi, Sharon. Glad you made it in. But it's up there, and we'll wait a few more minutes, and then we'll get started because I got a lot to cover tonight. Lots of hints for you. Some tips and some tricks, some other things. So we'll go from there. I am going to be using glue dots, and I'm using the larger glue dots this evening because, yeah, there they are, to put my sunflower together. So I'm hoping that, it's not gonna be a problem, but it just sits nicer with the larger glue dots than the small ones. When you're doing the daisy, it's fine, but with this one, the bigger ones hold it better. This what I'm showing you can be done with any background stamp. I'm going to give you hints and tips with this particular background stamp. I know a lot of people have, oh, excuse me. Oh, I need to go to bed. A lot of people have had trouble getting a good, crisp image on the stamp. And when I played with this one, with this color, because I use Cajun Craze, I was getting bubbles because my stamp pad was so juicy. So I tried something and it worked. So I'm gonna pass that on to you in hopes that if you use a stamp, if you have a background stamp that's got some large solid image to it, and yours does this, you can use this trick to help, you know, get a good crisp image. And in fact, I think this would work with any solid image. It just depends on if you can get it without the lines in it. And that's the key. So I think I'm going to turn this around so I can show you the card and we can talk a little bit. I'm going to stand on my little stool because I want to make sure I do this the right way. And I'm going to turn this around so that you don't get dizzy. Okay, I think I got it. I've got it going the right way. Yes. Oh my goodness. The trials and tribulations of going, I'm going to move it down a little bit. See if I can get a little closer. Of trying to go high tech. Okay, can move it back a little. I think that's better. I think you can see it a little bit better. Is this good for you guys? Oh, I went the wrong way. That'll teach me to look at the iPad, not the screen. There we go. I've got it. Okay, here it is. I used the daisy punch and created a sunflower. And then I'm going to show you how to do this background, because this one uses the buffalo check background. I love this stamp. I've said before I would like to see a stamp carry over. This would be one of them. I would love it if this carried over. It is, I've just played with it so much. So if you haven't gotten it, I'm going to give you some hints and maybe it'll change your mind. And then I'll even show you how to do this little bow. Those of you, Tony and Sharon, that have been to my class know how to do this, so it'll be a little refresher course for you. So with that in mind, let's get started. First thing I need is I need a piece of Whisper White, and I cut this at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I did not cut this one down smaller. The reason being, and you'll see, is it's easier to line this up and have a little bit of wiggle room if you need it. So taking your background stamp, and I'm using a scrap paper. I want to make sure, yeah, this one's gonna, I want to make sure it goes all the way across. I usually have a large piece. What you're going to take and do is you're going to ink up your stamp like so. And if you see this one, it's really juicy. See how you're getting all those bubbles in there? If you take your pad and swipe it, and then I went back and added some more and then swiped it again. And you're not pressing hard, because if you press hard, you're going to get lines, and that'll give it a different look altogether. Now, what you want to do is you want to take this cardstock and you're going to line up this corner with this corner, hold it in place, and line it up all the way down. Keep it there, and then fold your paper over. And what I do is I hold one side and I rub. And the key is to hold that side. If you rub and don't hold, it's going to move on you and you are going to have a mess. I want to make sure I get in the middle. When you do the side to side, you know, up and down, you want to make sure you cover everything. All right, I think I got it. And look at that. A nice, solid background. Okay, now the Cajun Craze is a funky color to begin with. It's not one of my favorites, but it does change as it dries some. At least I hope it does, because this looks like it's black, but it'll be all right. Now, the reason you have this larger is so you can cut this down when you're finished. But I'm not going to cut it down yet. I have to give it a few more minutes to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to stamp my daisies. And well, not daisies, my sunflowers. And I'm using the daisy stamp to stamp it. I've put my stamp on, moving, so that I have a petal north and south, because that'll make it easy to punch out. And when I stamp it, I'm keeping that petal north to south. All right, and I'm stamping it 3 times. I know a lot of people use 2. I like the 3. I think it just gives a fuller flower and looks nicer. Okay. Well, somebody got knocked out. Don't know who it was. All right, so there's that. And I can put that away. And while I'm still waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch these out. Now, I'll give you a little hint with this also. When you punch one, don't pull your paper out. Slide it over, line it up again, punch it, and then slide it over again and punch it. When you pull it out and put it back in, the petals have a tendency to get caught. And you'll see what I mean. See, it's getting caught up here. Whereas if you slide it, for some reason it doesn't. So we've got those done. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to curl one set of the petals down so that it looks like a spider. And then I'm going to curl the other set of petals on the other 2 up so it looks like a claw. And I'm just going to do this all the way around, and I have those done. Now what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to take one of the ones that's curled up and I'm going to offset my petals. See how I have an empty space here? I'm going to leave that empty space because this one, when I put it down, is going to go in that empty space like so. You kind of got to watch your centers, and so that gives you a nice full flower. What I did was, we had a piece, we used to have the, I'm looking for my paper, it was just here. We used to have, oh there it is, it's underneath. The chocolate chip was perfect for this, but chocolate chip retired. So what I did was I took a scrap of early espresso and the softly falling embossing folder, and I kind of did it in this area. You could do it down there if you wanted, and I embossed it. Some of this I did ahead of time. I'm going to take my 1-inch punch and I'm going to stick it in, and I'm going to get as many of the divots as I can. Then I'm going to take my glue dot. Oh, wrong one. I want the big ones again. I hit them. And I'm going to put a glue dot on it. And I'm going to put that in the center. Normally when you make a daisy, you use the 1/2-inch circle punch to punch out the pieces. I tried the 3/4, it still wasn't big enough. The 1 inch really gives you the look of the sunflower. Now it's time to work on our other lines. What I did was I take the blueberry bushel, oh, I gotta have my scrap paper, marker, and then I used a ruler that has a solid line here. It's not, sometimes they're real thin. I don't know if you can see it. This is a thicker line. You want a thicker line. It also helps to have numbers in it for it to be clear. And what I do is I take my 3 and my 6, and I'm using the top of both of them. And I'm putting the 3 and the 6, the tops, even with this mark, the top of this square. I discovered this in playing. And then I'm going to, whoops, wrong end. I'm going to draw a line all the way across. Now you want to start off the paper and you want to go past, because if you don't, you'll get a blob there, and you don't want that. All right, then you take a paper towel and wipe that edge off. The reason being, if you don't, when you slide it down, you're going to smear your blue ink and it's going to ruin your cardstock. There's the next line. And I'm just wiping it off in between. And as you can see, this is going fairly quickly. Once you get the ruler you're going to use, take and, you know, if you can find a clear ruler, just play with it and see where the center is and draw your lines. And do it quickly. Don't think about it. Go quick so that you get a pretty steady, solid line. Okay, there's my other one. And as you can see, I'm almost done with one side. I think the wiping off the ruler is takes the longest. Okay, let's see. See how you get a little bit thicker line there if you don't start off far enough. So just keep that in mind. And if you do make a mistake like that, when you cut it down, you can cut that off. There we go, one side done. Now, then what I did, oh, thanks Linda for sharing. I love it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to flip your paper around. And again, you're taking the top of your 3 and the top of your 6, and you're lining it up with the top of that square and drawing a line all the way across. Oh, thanks. I was wondering, pains? I was wondering about that. Thanks, Linda. All right. It's so easy to do with this stamp set. And again, remember, cut your paper in quarters. Don't cut it down, because then you can cut off. See how it's thick here? When I go to cut it off, I will cut off those pieces. My Cajun Craze stamp pad is really juicy, and this is what happens. That's why I drag it across there rather than tap it. All right, look at this. One more line, ladies, and we're done. And we have a nice plaid. There it is. I wiped my ruler off each time so I didn't smear it. All right, now, let me pull out my my trimmer here. All right, this side is really good. This is dark here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and trim off that side so that I've cut away that. This one is messed up, so I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4. So now look at this. Isn't that a great color? I mean, you would never know that there's any issues, that there were darker pieces with it. So there's the key. Keep your piece bigger than you know, the full size, and then cut it down. All right, now we're going to take and we're going to fold our cardstock in half. And I'm going to find my bone folder over here. And I'm going to take, give me a good crisp fold. Now, you want to attach your ribbon or your linen thread first. This is not my idea, ladies. This came from a former demo. I'm trying to think of her name. I can't even think of her name right now. But what this is a cheese grater. And I bought this at a, kitchen store. And I bought a spool from, say, Michael's. I wrapped my linen thread around it and put it in the cheese grater. And two things happened. Number one, it pulls out, of course now it's not going to do it, I've messed it up because it was in there right. It pulls out very easily without tangling. And the other thing is your kinks are gone because it's been wrapped around here. I hate those kinks. All right, now I want my bow on this side, so I'm going to give myself a bigger tail here, and I'm going to wrap this around 4 times. There's one, oh, I want to keep this out. All right, so 1, 2, 3, oops, getting too tight. 3, 4. All right, now I'm going to take, don't see my ribbon scissors. I'm just going to use these. I'm going to cut that end off. I do not know what happened here. It was like, hello. All right, I'm going to take this piece and run it underneath and see how it kind of moves that thread underneath. It holds it in place so that you can tie your knot. And I'm going to tie a double knot. And remember, this one doesn't matter, but if you're going to tie a bow, pull your last one north to south. I'm going to pull this east to west because I want them to go down, but I'll have to show you those. Now I've got that straight, and I'm just going to separate these just a little to add a little interest. So I've separated them out a little. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to work on this while I wait. Yeah, there it is. My iPad's behind my video, or what I'm doing. All right, so I've got that ready. Now I can put this on here. And I'm going to take, if the other hint that I want to tell you, if you turn this over and you have gaps, it's a little too thick, pull it tight and put tear and tape over top of it, and it will tighten it up on the front. Okay, so I am going to put this down. And again, I put it down and hold it without, hi Barb. Barb and I were playing today. We had fun. Made lots of fun Halloween treats to send to my, she's going to send to her nieces and nephews, and I'm going to send to my nieces. I'm going to send to my granddaughters. So look at that, the card is almost done. All right, now I'm going to show you how to do this bow. I love the bow. The same lady that gave me this, she was really good too. I'll have to find her name and put it down there. Take 2 fingers, put it together, and leave yourself a tail. Wrap this around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Add in your 3rd finger. 1, 2, 3. Add in your 4th finger. I don't want this underneath. 1, 2, 3. Cut yourself a tail. Pull your fingers out, and you have all these loops. What you do then is I form a figure 8. So I pull this up and kind of cross so that it makes the figure 8. And I'm kind of checking my ends to see that they're about even. And there it is. Now what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to take, all right, another piece of linen thread. I'm going to lay this in the middle, and I'm going to hold it down with one of my fingers, And then I'm going to use my other fingers to tie a knot. Once you get that first knot, it's okay. All right, there. Now, do not pull this knot tight. Look at your bow. If you need to do any adjustments, if this is not in the middle, you can pull it one way or the other. When you get it where you want it, tie it tight again. Tie another dot, tie it tight. Trim your ends. Then what I take and do is I pull my pieces, and see how this one is kind of through the middle of this? I'm going to take and shove it down to the back like so. And the same thing with this one. Shove it down through if you need to. Sometimes you don't have to, it works out. All right, come on. So that all of your pieces are in the back. All right. Now I'm going to take a glue dot, and this is one of our regular glue dots, and I'm going to take and I'm going to put that bow right there. And I have all my tails down at the bottom. Now you're saying, but that doesn't look like that. Here's the secret and the trick. Take your loops and gently separate them. Pull one up, one down, leave one in the middle. And do that for all 3 loops. See how it's opened up? Then you go over here and you do the same thing over here. And you may have to work in reverse order depending on how your loops turn out. But you just separate them out, and then what I take and do is I take and scrunch it, and if I need to adjust a bow, I adjust it, you know. Take your scissors, and I take the outside ones. I give myself 3 different lengths because I just think that it looks nice with 3 lengths. I got to figure out which one is the outside one here, or it's not going to lay right. All right, it's this one. And then I'm going to go in just a little and in a little bit more. And there you go. Look at that bow. Isn't it cute? I love it. All right, I'm going to put my dimensionals on the back of my flower. And I'm going to flip it around like so. And I cut mine in half because I usually use half, but on this one I wanted more sticky area on the outside, so I reversed the way I put them down. And I'm going to put that right about there. There it is. If you want to add a little Wink of Stella in there, and I think I might just on this one for something different. And I'm trying to see, just to give the center some sparkle. You know me and bling. All right, so we've got a little sparkle there, and I'm looking for a piece of white. I thought I had a piece here. Let me grab a piece of white real quick. Okay, here we go. And then I chose my sentiment from Sheltering Tree. Practice makes perfect, Barb. You can do it. I have confidence. All right, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I use Blueberry Bushel. I'm not a fan of Cajun Craze, but I liked the Blueberry Bushel, so that's what I used. And I'm going to pull out my trimmer again, and my piece fell out, so I'm going to put this back in there. And I'm going to trim off this end. All right. Now, what I take and do when I'm trimming is I take the top of my sentiment and I line it up with, it's hard to see, this mark here, because the channel to cut is here, so that gives you just a little bit of an edge. A little bit more. There we go. And I make sure it's straight because sometimes it's not. All right, and I'm going to trim the top off. Then I'm going to flip it around. And this, if you have, you know, if it was a bigger piece, you could put it up here, which would make it easier. But since this does not have that, and I went down too far, I have to, a little bit more, I'm going to cut off my, there we go. And I'm kind of looking at the line there and making sure that my, I could cut this down some more, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. The bottom of my words and the line. Now, to flag your ends, what I do is I take my scissors and I cut up the middle. Then I go one side to the middle, other side to the middle, and cut it off. And you got a flagged end. Then I flip it around, cut up to the middle, cut off one side to the middle, and the other side to the middle. And there you go, you have your flagged ends. And then I need to put this on with some dimensionals. I'm going to cut some, I used them all up. And I'm going to put one going this way at this end, one going this way at this end, and then I'm going to put two in the middle because this is a long sentiment, so that I have some support there. I'm going to take my backs off, and then I want to put this down. I want to put it on there the right side up, and I'm going to put it right about there. And there we go, ladies. Look at that. This one has Wink of Stella. This one doesn't in the center. You probably can't see it too much. Let me see if I bring it up to the, if you can see the sparkle a little. And if you want some sparkle, it's kind of hard to see. Sparkles are hard to capture in photography, but it's there. So now I have two great cards to send out. So what do you think, ladies? Thanks, Pam. Did you get some hints about the background folder? I hope so. Okay, I'm gonna take this out, flip it around, and pull it up and put it back in here. I'm getting much, much better with this. Okay, there we go. Let me go down to the bottom so I can see if anybody. I love this background stamp. Oh, you're going to order it, Pam? Oh, Pam, I have got some, let me, hang on here. I'll share some sneak peeks with you. Some of these I have not shared on my blog yet, so wait till you see this. This one I shared on my blog. Look at that one. Now, this was in my newsletter, sorry. Isn't that cute? And I did the same technique with the background. Okay. Here's a fall version. And I used the leaves. And I added some copper, a copper framelit there. The leaves here, it's hard to see, but I use Cajun Craze and Garden Green. That's what color I used back here. So I have that one. I'm going to back up a little. I have this one, and it's hard to see. You can't see. It's got white. There it is. It's better. I've got the white glimmer paper snowflakes, and this one is Blueberry Bushel and Balmy Blue. And then I added some of our silver edged ribbon. And then this was an idea, ladies, you're gonna die with this one. This was an idea I saw on Facebook with another company, and it was background paper. The idea, and I took the idea and I came up with this one. What do you think those are? I'm hoping it might be, let me move in a little. Maybe that'll help. Any guesses? No guesses to what these might be? Campfire. Marshmallows. I roasted marshmallows. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Now this one I did a background. This one is pumpkin pie. And then I used, I think it was cherry cobbler. And then I used Granny Apple Green, and it's hard to see. I'm gonna move it in real close, but I'm gonna take my time. See the extra line I put in there? I added another skinny end. I used the skinny end of the marker and made the other line. So this is, I don't know what you call it, but it's got the regular plaid, the one I drew in, and then another one with skinny lines. But isn't that a cute card? I thought it was so cute. I loved it. But then it doesn't take much to amuse me. So you got to see some ideas that haven't been put out there yet. And I hope that you enjoyed them. Well, oh, thanks, Linda. I just, I love playing. And when I saw those marshmallows, the stick and the marshmallows were actually on the background of a designer series paper. And I went, oh my God, a card. And this, let's see. This is the framelit from Colorful Seasons. No, Pam, I haven't started them. I've got to get them started. I know. I want to use something from the annual catalog, and I just have to take time and do it. I really wish this was in the annual catalog because I'd be doing this one, but I'll get there. I'm going to get them done. I've got to get started on them because I've got several trips coming up before that I'm going to be out of town for. So, ladies, I hope I've inspired you. I know many of you don't have this background. But take the idea and use a background you have. You don't have to add extra lines to it. I know that we have the hardwood background. Oh, you're quite welcome, Linda. And thank you for sharing. Pull out one you have, an older one, and play with it. Add lines, see what it comes up with. Just do small pieces and see if you like it. If you don't, trash it. It's just paper. All right, ladies. I have had, oh, Linda, are you going to play with it? I hope so. I hope I've given you some ideas. I'll be looking for them. Oh, thanks, Pam. Great, Linda. Please, please share your ideas with our group. I love it. Well, I'm going to get ready and go so that the rest of you can go, and have a great evening, guys. And I'll see you next week at 7:30 again. Don't know what I'm going to do, but you never know with me. Bye.